Headline: Surface Book 3 spotted using quadrographics in benchmarks. Sound familiar?
I'm sure whoever wrote that referenced your earlier.
I'm sure they did. A month and a half, 2 months ago, whatever it was. Anyways, it looks like all this stuff. There's a European retailer who clearly just doesn't care about anything and is like posting all of the pricing and the specs for all this stuff. It lines up to everything that I said earlier, but it looks like this stuff's coming pretty soon. So not all that surprising. I wouldn't buy a Surface Book 2 unless you find one for like $50 at this time.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, the Surface Book 2 has been consistently good for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally what I use every day for First Drink Daily. So I use this thing. Half hour, 45 minutes.
An emergency or not emergency. When how do I say this? When things are, you can tell what things are important to people when they don't have a choice or whatever, or they have to make a choice. So like last summer when we went away on the home swap, it's like, all right, so I have all these computers I could take.
Yep.
Surface Book 2.
Yeah. No, it's a good powerhouse machine. It's fine. So I'll be curious to see what when the Surface Book 3 comes out, but it should be sooner rather than later. So just keep
related to this is the Surface Go 2 has apparently cleared through the FCC. So I would imagine these things are going to be released
soon,
in tandem or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Speaking of release things, Paul, today going to finally have the basement write-up is complete. I wrote it all up yesterday. It's about 3,000 words. Includes budgets, includes just lots of pictures and other stuff that people have been asking for. So that'll go up here probably later this morning. I just want to proofread it one more time to make sure I leave at least 5 grammar issues for people to point out. And then
I've had an issue with Grammarly lately that might be caused by any other thing in the browser. It's kind of hard to tell, but I use the stable version of Edge. And, it does the little red underline when you have a grammar spelling issue, whatever. And when you mouse over it, you get a little pop-up that says,
I think I know what you're going to say, because I've had this issue too.
It's way off the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
Okay. So you're using Edge then as well? Do you think this is an Edge thing?
I don't know. Do you know the workaround to fix it? So you know how in the bottom right of like our little WordPress editor, there's that green button or whatever that's the Grammarly. If you click that, it opens up it in the Grammarly editor, and then it works just fine.
Oh, but then you have to.
It's not as eloquent, but at least
I was wondering. Well, so let me ask you if you know, you would know. How did you get the Grammarly plugin? Did you get it from Microsoft, like from their store, or did you get it from the Chrome web store?
Pretty much through the Chrome web store, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I'm wondering. I probably did too.
Can't imagine it makes a difference. I mean, it's the same.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know.
It's the same tortilla underneath. I mean,
I understand.
So, yeah.
All right, that's okay. I'm glad to hear that you have also seen this, only because that means it's not
you, but it is you,
right? Well, because I see things like I had mentioned to you when I use an RSS reader, and when our posts come through in the RSS reader, they don't have a graphic with them, and they normally did. And I mentioned it to you, and I thought maybe it was something we screwed up. But then I looked at the RSS reader on a different PC. Same browser, but I had a different set of plugins because, no extension sync. And I saw the graphics and I thought, oh, of course, it's something I added to this browser. So I was wondering with Grammarly if it wasn't something like that. I added some peculiar extension might have screwed with it or something.
Nope. So there's that. I also do appreciate everybody who reached out yesterday to try to help me get my Gmail into Outlook.com and nothing.
No, I think you need to. If you don't see that graphic,
it's not there.
It's not there. Yeah.
I looked at all the settings everyone recommended. I hit. Yep. No, it's just.
No, it's not. There's no. I don't believe there's anything you can do to trigger it. It just gets enabled, and then you'll see it. It will. When it arrives, you'll get a little pop up.
Oh, and you'll know because I'll be drunk. It's there.
Yeah.
It'll be 9 a.m. and I will be hammered. Right. I don't even know if I'm gonna like it. That's the thing. It's like I just want to try running it in here because whatever.
Well, I mean, this is probably related. I don't know if you read the premium newsletter thing from yesterday, but I think people like us and a lot of the people who read the site and would listen to this podcast are, they're technical people, and I'm starting to wonder if there isn't I've made the observation that like people like us, are on the spectrum somewhere. All of us, I mean, to some degree. No, we really are. I mean, it's but but there's also maybe a self-destructive quality to this too, where you're like, hey, this thing's working great. Let's screw with it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's something to it. I mean,
It's
we're
a way
always
of life.
experimenting and,
It's a way of life that things work well. Let's fix it so it doesn't.
yeah. I don't remember if I've written about uncertainty, which is really unreliability, I guess, or lack of reliability. But this is like the central issue, I think, for the tech world. And one great example is like last night. Yesterday was beautiful, and as late as 6:30 or 7, it was like 67 degrees outside.
Oh, nice.
So I turned on the outside lights, and which I have arranged in a rainbow pattern from the edge of the garage to the other side of the house. It's kind of cool looking. And I should say it's kind of cool looking when it works. So if there are like 4, I guess there are 7 lights in total. The 5th light, which is the one over the door, it's just white. It's just because
Doing its own thing.
it's just a little black magic. Just throw it up in the air and see what happens.
Yeah, that's the way of It's the way. Well, like, so when we obviously lost our power, which whatever we talked about, but for whatever reason, no logic to this. So I have certain like lights, much like you, set up to turn on at certain times. Like we have under counter lights that I have set to turn on at like 4:30 a.m. I have outside lights that turn on with the sunrise sunset, and in no consistent fashion, some of the timers worked and some of them didn't. And they're all in the same app. They're all the same hue light bulbs. Some of them worked once the power came back on. I don't know, I had to reset the hub and then everything seems to be working again. But yeah, it's just the mystery of IoT. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
I anticipate leading a very analog life later in life. I find that to be very frustrating because it's not really explainable. You can't debug it or troubleshoot it and say, oh, this is why that happened. You'll never know. You just have to kind of deal with it.
There's going to be a nurse sitting outside your nursing home room in like 30 years going, all he plays with is that ball and cup. That's it.
Yeah. He's got like a round clock up on the wall.
Yeah.
He reads books on paper. It's really weird.
Every day he just says that damn Kindle. That's we don't know what he means.
Oh, Kindle, Kindle is a great example of something that should be the be-all, end-all, and isn't, because you can't read all of the content in the Kindle store on a Kindle. I mean, seriously, we don't cover Amazon like we do Microsoft, but I mean, imagine the ongoing outrage. Like Mahedi spent 2 years of his life tweeting about a volume flyout thing that it looks like they're finally going to fix. You can't even read all of the content that you can get in the Kindle store on their own devices. Like it makes no sense.
I don't even like Kindles. Like I can't read on them. I don't know why.
I like them, but I won't read on them because of the problem I just said. I mean, if you get the Kindle app on the iPad, for example, which probably is terrible for you. I was reading it late at night last night like a jerk, in the bed, and it's bright light in your face, and try like tilting it away from me to try to dim it a little bit, killing my eyes. You have to, because that's where all the content is.
In the wise words of Bill Burr, I need something to die for me to be happy. And in this case, it's a tree. I need to be able to touch it and fold it and dog ear the corner so I don't forget where I've left off.
I'm not going to go back to reading books, like books.
Wow, you're not going to be a heathen like me?
No, but no. Although, like the books you can see behind me, those books, I mean, this is another little interesting digital divide problem. Those are all older books, right? Now, granted, they're about technologies that are out of date, and why would anyone want to read those? But I mean, I still feel like this stuff should all be available digitally, like that. Yeah. The archive of humanity should be somehow preserved, like whatever it is. This happens to be stuff I'm interested in, but it could be any topic. I mean,
I just realized. So for the past several years, like 2 years ago, I read, I think it was Steve Jobs' biography. Last year, I read the making of the iPhone book. Since I'm probably not going to have a vacation, like traditional vacation, because of
I have a recommendation for you.
Well, I don't even know if I'm gonna have time to read a book, because that's like when I did it. Like that's what I would do. I would go to the beach, I would leave things back, and then I would just read the book on the beach.
Don't give up on the stream. You will have a vacation this year. It may not be in the normal time frame.
We'll find one.
You know, yeah,
we will. Hopefully. If we don't, then the murdering, just it's like the doomsday clock, right? Like it's like at like 9:30 right now, but every day it gets a little closer to midnight, and then
this is when the freakouts happen. And actually, I didn't tell you the story. I had a freakout over the weekend in a restaurant.
You murdered somebody. It's like, well, I'll get the bail money ready this time.
Oh no! By the way, I may have murdered somebody. The problem with COVID is you have no idea. So as everyone knows, there are restaurants that have remained open that are doing delivery or pickup service, and we have gone to this is the bar restaurant that we go to every week that we try to go once a week and get to go food from, right? Most of these places, you park the car, you tell them you're there, you text them or call them.
Yep.
They come out to the car and you're done. You don't sign receipts. That's not safe. Whatever. This restaurant, which is one of the closest restaurants to us, which is honestly it's goofy because it's kind of an Applebee's type thing, but it's local. Honestly, the food is good. I don't know why we have such a pompous air about it, but it's fine. In fact, it's the restaurant where I saw Not Mary Joe, and we took those pictures. So that's where that is. We're like, it's a local place. We should support these guys. And so last Wednesday, we got dinner there. And, I wasn't sure how it works. So I called them, and they're like, oh, just, come in, you pay, and you go. Or I already paid online, but you have to sign a receipt or whatever. So obviously, so you can leave a tip. So I go in there. There's one or two people. It's a big room, but most of it's taken up with boxes and everything. So there's only kind of a small space you can be in, but there's only a couple people there. Plus the one woman behind the register who's also answering every phone call and dealing with the people who come in.
Yeah.
So I gave him a huge tip because, again, you want to support these people. But then people start arriving and my food's not up and neither are their food. And there's 7 people. Now there's 10 people. And I'm like, guys, this is not safe what you're doing here. And I swear to God, it's like a movie. Like there's always like that guy. So I'm one of those guys because I'm speaking up. And then there's the guy who completely misunderstands me. He's over in the corner. He goes, hey, she's risking her life. And I'm like, yeah, we all are. That's the problem. I'm like, this isn't about Paul not getting his food quickly. This is about 10 or more people standing in a room together in a very small space. None of you are wearing masks. She's not wearing a mask, the woman that works here. What I'm saying is this is unsafe. It's unsafe for all of us. I'm not concerned about me. I'm concerned about everybody. And he's like, oh, whatever. He's all pissy about it or whatever. But it's like, this is serious. Like, and this is the problem if you go into, I joked about Walmart on Twitter or a grocery store today, if they don't do it right. Because some stores are putting in lanes and things and trying to make, spit shields and whatnot and good. But, this is how this thing keeps going. So if there were 10 or 12, I get 15 people probably in this room. Any one of them, me, could have had this thing and not known it, had no symptoms, could have given it to one or more of those people because we're all in close. I walked out, by the way. I ended up walking out of the place. And they're like, when my food was ready, she points at the thing. And I said, no, you're going to have to bring it over here. I'm not going in there again. Like, no, this is how it spreads. And this is how stupidity, prevents progress. It's just... And I hate to be this person, but also as the type of person I am, I can't help myself. I have to be that person. I'm not going to not speak up.
It's innate to your blogging career.
I guess, but this is serious, dude.
No,
like,
it
this
is. But I mean,
public safety. I mean, I'm glad they're open. I want to support them. I'm never going in there again. That was dumb.
Yeah,
it was dumb.
Other dumb things include Skype. Teams made a big deal about how they're rolling out 3x3, so you can now view 9. I think I had the perfect headline.
Okay.
I said Microsoft is rolling out a 9 people participant view, only trails behind Zoom by 40. Because Zoom supports a 49-person view, which I will admit I think is a little probably impractical because especially on a small screen.
Stupid.
But it's not that it's impractical. It's the fact that it can do it.
What was the previous number? Was it?
Well,
3?
currently, because I don't even know anybody who has this yet, but it's 4.
4. So they're going from 4 to 9.
Yeah.
So it's like
on a percentage basis,
2.25, whatever the number is, 225% improvement.
Yeah. So from there,
I guess you could.
And they said they're going to add more, so be on the lookout for that. Chip Jolly good news. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have meetings on Skype in our business, and sometimes we'll have several people on the call. And the way that it works, if I remember correctly, is you basically see 4 people,
Yep.
and
But
then you
have
have
a
little thumbnails of a few of them. But then if there are too many, you just get like a list or something. And as people talk, they'll come to the forefront or whatever. That system to me seems manageable. I mean, why would you want more than that?
I don't know.
Unless you're a teacher, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people who need it, and it's very justified. And the fact that teams didn't do it, but here we are. Anyways, it's getting fixed. The great thing about this, so in a very traditional Microsoft way, they responded in, I think it was like one of their answer forums or wherever it is, like the feedback forums for this feature, which was originally made in 2016. They're like, hey, we're adding this feature. You asked for it. We're doing it. And then I looked at the data. I was like, that's 2016 when they made this request.
There are people who track this stuff very closely. And I think it's fair to say that there's something broken in the Microsoft feedback loop. I mean, we've seen this a lot where there have been these features. Well, Mehdi, I joked about it earlier. Mehdi's volume flyout thing. I'm sure you could go back to 2015 and find hey, how come you can't do this with this? And then as the platform improved and they made capabilities available to those notification toasts or whatever they're called now, and Microsoft didn't change the operating system. It's like, how come you're not doing this? Because I don't think they really. I don't know. The system doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, they don't take the easy wins when they can get them. That's what I like.
Yeah, anyone will tell you that. You're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to save money, or whatever, trying to pay off credit cards, something like that. You go for the early wins. You got to have those. You don't go for the big one at first. You chip away.
You stop drinking pop. That's an easy one.
Yes. Yes.
You don't go for I'm going to give up carbs right away. That's not a sustainable
right.
thing.
You kind of So you give up do it in steps.
Give up maybe the sweets, and then maybe go all in. I don't know. Anyway, so
no, that's it. No, it's human nature. I mean, it's normal.
And then because there's not enough to talk about, Google is apparently going to go the Apple route and the faux Microsoft route with their SQ1.
Well, I was going to say, yeah. So it's more the faux Microsoft route. Interestingly, you say it that way, because everyone. I'm sorry, you were.
Well, I was just going to say Google is said to be working on their own processor for their next upcoming Pixel phone.
Yeah, so not the one this year. It looks like it's sorry, next year. Yeah, and I think that might be related to the rumors of Google going with a mid-tier chipset for the Pixel 5. It's less expensive. I mean, I think this business loses money.
That would make sense.
The different routes that companies take are always fascinating to me. Apple bought a company that makes microprocessors, and then they've since expanded into a really long list, by the way, of custom processors for their devices. Very
it's only
interesting.
Getting bigger too.
Yeah, and so you see other companies doing the same. Microsoft had that special chipset in the Pros that makes the pen work with less latency. It's only in those devices, I believe, or in a couple of others, but it's only in Microsoft devices. Pixel, Google had the Pixel Sense technology, or whatever that was called, Pixel Visual Core for the speeding up the photography stuff, which seems to work okay. But the processor one is interesting because Apple basically is now they're just doing their own thing, right? So they have their own design. Microsoft has worked literally with all of its processor partners, Intel, AMD, and Qualcomm, to release customized versions of those companies' chips. Like they're co-designing them. I mean, it's kind of hard. They're relying on the expertise of these other companies. They could never do this by themselves. Google is doing the Microsoft thing, right? So they're actually working with Samsung on some kind of using Samsung manufactures the Apple A series chips and probably other chips. They don't co-design them, I don't believe, with Apple. But these are customized variants of I think it's called Exynos chipset, which is what Samsung uses in their phones in certain markets. In other markets, like the United States, they use Qualcomm chips. So it's the Microsoft approach. They're basically slightly customizing these things for AI and machine learning and whatever their needs are.
Yeah. So beyond
staving off the defeat that's coming. That's good.
It's one way to phrase it.
They're never going to succeed.
No, I don't think they're ever going to be a high volume player. I don't honestly think that's probably ever their intent, but I don't really know what their intent
then they're
is.
succeeding. So I I think it's likely that they will stop making headsets at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that because I don't know.
This would be the opportune time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, with everything going on in the world, it's like, we reevaluated our business and this just doesn't make sense. We're going to work closely with our OEMs to make sure that they can deliver the cleanest Android experience, blah, blah, blah. It writes itself. But I don't know. I just went back to the Pixel 4 as part of my revisiting series,
Yeah.
It's it's okay. The camera's good.
Yeah.
Unless you want ultra wide, and then you're just gonna have to imagine it, or make a panorama or something.
Or just step back.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, you step back. Yeah. Well, you don't get the. It's just.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's not the same. But.
So, all right. Well, that wraps it up for today, folks. We will be back tomorrow, provided the comet does not hit the Earth that we all keep hoping eventually does.
It's rather dark.
Would that make it an asteroid?